Hi, we are launching the McKinney Minute, which is a snapshot, a conversation that the Chamber is having with one of our favorite reporters in McKinney, Texas, Shelby, with Community Impact. She's in the know of all things, and we know that it's really important that we're able to give you good information about what's happening within our city and the things that impact you in your everyday life. Brief plug, please support local journalism. It's really important that we know what's happening within our city government, our schools, but we're also going to talk about some fun things like what new businesses are opening and just kind of things around town.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get to it. There's a lot to cover because there's a lot of news happening.
Always a lot of news.
Lots of news. So some headlines that have been out there. One is the Lower Five Plaza losing $15 million in federal funding. So Shelby, tell us a little bit about the Lower Five Plaza to begin with.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is a project that has been in the works for a number of years, and it is incorporated into the overall reconstruction of State Highway 5. The project would put a park underneath the roadway that could act as a pedestrian crossing to get people from downtown to the east side of Highway 5. And what exactly that park would look like is kind of in the process. But seeing as though the project did lose some federal funding, the exact path forward for the project is a little bit unknown at the moment.
How was it funded? Is it several, so you had federal funding and then you had...
There was a mix of funding. Okay. So there was some federal funding piece, and then there was some partnership from some local organizations. I believe NCTCOG was part of that as well. Okay. So there was a number of funding pieces. That was one element. The total project, the most recent cost I saw was about $45 million. Okay. So that $15 million was just a piece of that. Okay. And per city officials, the last update we got was that they're looking for other opportunities and funding sources. Mayor Cox has said that this is a project that's important to him, so I believe they're going to be discussing this again at an upcoming meeting.
Okay, well, it's definitely long overdue to make improvements to Highway 5, especially given how much business and all the redevelopment that's happening and making it safe for people driving and walking, right? Yeah. Also very exciting, we got to go to a groundbreaking at McKinney National Airport, TKI, recently. So the airport is expanding and
it's underway.
Commercial passenger service, I understand, is going to be in our near future. So tell us a little bit about that groundbreaking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was recently this summer, and work is underway on the site. They've got groundwork going. There's some excavation happening, and we could see it vertical later this year. So it's definitely underway. City officials recently said that they're in negotiations with 3 airlines. Okay. Again, they have NDAs on those. Yes. There was a release of Avelo Airlines as one of them.
Okay, I was going to say, I heard about Avelo. Okay.
Yes, yeah, Avelo is one of them that was released. But they've got negotiations underway, and we could see use and lease agreements come before City Council later this year as well. So we may know what airlines are coming soon. Yeah. Probably about 6 months before the opening, we'll get to know more about the destinations, the flights, the rates, all of that. But it's definitely underway, and we could see those flights start as soon as November of 2026.
That's very exciting. Yes, I'm very curious, and you'll come back and tell us when they announce which airlines and which destinations.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine being able to drive to 10 minutes and park at McKinney National Airport and hop on a plane. That's going to be very exciting. Okay, this is a story I find to be very interesting, and so this might take a minute to explain. So there's going to be on the ballot for a particular area of residents that are outside of the city of McKinney, correct? It's to create a Collin County Emergency Service District number 1. So give us a little background about this and why this is going to be on the ballot.
So the Emergency Services District was a petition created after a couple of cities in Collin County approached the county and said, we're providing these emergency services to our extraterritorial jurisdictions based on various agreements based on the city. And the county was providing them some funding for that, but that funding wasn't covering the entire cost. So
yeah, think it was like two
million
in their whole budget.
Yeah. It was a pretty relatively small allotment compared to the cost for these services.
Right.
So 3 cities, including McKinney, went to the county and said, we can't, continue to provide this service for the budget allotment that we're being given. We need more funding. So as a result, a petition was created to pursue an emergency services district, and that district would essentially impose a tax on residents of the extraterritorial jurisdiction in cities that have opted in to participate in this, that would then fund emergency services in those areas. McKinney is one of a number of cities that has chosen to opt in, and then if this proposition passes in the November ballot, residents of the ETJ would pay a tax and then be serviced with fire and ambulance and that kind of thing. The service would still be provided by the cities. They would just be getting funding through this emergency services district and the associated tax.
So they're not building another fire station or something, so they will contract with the cities, but at a higher rate, I'm assuming, than what they were getting from the county.
Yeah, that tax would fund additional dollars towards providing that service for those residents.
So is there like a board? Like I wonder, how would that look?
Yeah, so the county commissioners would be appointing that board. The board would be responsible for setting that tax rate. And they do have some initial estimates based on what that tax rate could look like. It could bring in anywhere between 5 and 10 million a year, depending on what that first tax rate is. But that essentially would cover the delta between what they're being paid now for those city contracts to service those areas versus what the cost actually is.
So if this fails, what happens to the residents that are in this ETJ?
Sure. In the event that the proposition fails, the cities could choose to still provide service, continue on the current contracts that they're on. The county could choose to still provide that funding. They've said that they will continue that $2 million allotment. Residents could see some impacts in terms of higher insurance costs based on, less immediate access to emergency services, or if they don't have a dedicated emergency services. But county officials have said that they're aiming for there to be no gap or as little gap as possible in coverage for any area of the ETJ in Collin County.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Are there other emergency services districts across the state?
There are, yes. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but there's a number of them across the state, and it was made for situations like this.
Interesting. All right. Well, I guess we'll see what the residents do come November. Okay, switching gears a little bit. This has been interesting for those of you who are parents. So the state imposed a cell phone ban, right, across all over 1,000 school districts across the state. So this took effect in McKinney ISD. Tell us a little bit about, like, what does that look like?
Sure.
Is that cell phones, like you can't have it at all?
Yes.
Like don't on campus?
So district to district, the way that they're enforcing it varies slightly. It does all comply with the bill, obviously, but the enforcement of McKinney ISD specifically is that district officials said it has to be out of sight. So it has to be in your bag, off, not making a noise, just not visible, not, can't hear it. And that applies to cell phones, but that also applies to smartwatches and computers and earbuds, portable gaming devices, really any digital device that you can communicate on.
Okay.
So a number of these devices are no longer allowed, AirPods, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And the district has said that they support, in the event of an emergency, students having access to their device, so you can still have them in your bag, but cannot have them out during instructional time or during school hours, which they're defining as pretty much when you walk into the school up until you leave campus.
Yeah. We'll see how this plays out throughout the year, if this helps to improve student outcomes and learning and that kind of thing. So there'll be interesting. We'll circle back in a year and
see where that stands.
Okay, so if you've been driving around McKinney on El Dorado in Virginia, we're under construction. So tell us a little bit about the reconstruction projects.
Absolutely.
Of those parkways that are heavily trafficked.
Heavily trafficked roadways, yes, they are quite heavily trafficked, and those roadways are seeing a number of, maintenance issues related to like potholes and cracks and things of that nature. So the city is going to go down each of these roadways and address each of those issues one by one. Right now they're working on El Dorado Parkway. That's going to be kind of through the rest of this year. Next year they'll move on to Virginia, but they're working on repairing a number of these roads.
Oh, good, because I know when I'm driving to go to Market Street to pick up my groceries, it's that, El Dorado needed
A little bumpy,
a little bumpy, needed some reconstruction. So this is good. This is exciting. All right, so let's get to some fun stuff. There's been some openings, some new businesses opening that people are really excited about. Share with us. Let's do a quick rundown.
Yeah, a number of new businesses. So Whole Foods opened August 27th over in West Grove, a new grocery store in the city. A new grocery store just south of the city on the McKinney border in Allen. Costco opened in August as well. For South McKinney residents that may not travel up to that North McKinney Costco. Still Ice Cream is a fun one up closer on that North McKinney border on 380. It's open in August. And then Central on the Square, new downtown restaurant, opened earlier this summer. That's a great one. And then another fun business that opened was Bricks and Minifigs earlier this summer over on the west side.
What is Bricks and Minifigs?
Yeah, it is a Lego store, basically. New, used, resale, hard to find, individual pieces, sets. Really interesting for the Lego hobbyist.
Oh, okay, like my 9-year-old daughter. Awesome. All right, well, this has been fun, Shelby. Thanks for being the in-the-know person in McKinney and having sharing some of this information with us. If you want to read more about these stories and go a little bit more in depth, you can go to Community Impact website, which is
communityimpact.com.
And we have a partnership with the Chamber through our website, mckinneytoday.com, where we share some of these stories as well. All the stories referenced today are going to be linked below the video, so you can read more about it. Thanks, Shelby.
Thank
See you next month.
Absolutely.